Very warm welcome along to Bowmanville, Ontario, where we are ready to go for the Canadian Tire Motorsport 120, Motorsport Park 120. It is the latest round of the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge. Hello everybody and welcome along. John Hindhoff and the rest of the IMSA radio team with you on RS2, part of the Radio Show Limited network of channels around the circuit on 90.7 FM and of course at a variety of different places to watch the pictures as well. Crowds have been flooding in here this weekend. It is always well supported. Yesterday, a qualifying session that was a bit topsy-turvy. New qualifying record for Jack Hawkes within the Toyota GR Supra. He'll take pole position for Hattori Motorsports, but it was a session that was interrupted by a red flag and some worry about whether we would get that car back out again. We'll head to Shea Adam, our BDO pit reporter, in a moment. The circuit is an absolute belter, a classic as the cars are rolling on their formation lap now. Overtaking opportunities coming into turn 5, Moss Corner, slightly uphill into turns 5 and 6. Maybe at the end of the long Mario Andretti straight into turn 7 as they turn 8, excuse me, as they come over the top of the rise there. Let's get down to Shea Adam for this BDO pit report. It was a problem for the Tooth Autosport 718 Club Sport Cayman, the number 22 yesterday, went off at turn 3. It wasn't there for the festivity, Shea, but it is out on pit lane now. But will it be allowed to start?
Yes and yes. The good news is that the car, which had an incident in qualifying first thing this morning, it was about 8:20 in the morning that the green flag came out, so not that much time for the crew to get to work, has made it to the pit lane. It did get out here in time, not in time to take its grid position as far as we do it with the echelon style. Johnny Knott's very good about lining all those cars up in a very nice order, but it will be allowed to start from the back of the class. That is the penalty that it earned from causing the red flag and losing its 2 fastest laps. The car is out there right now. It is circulating, and yes, it's got a long way to go, but there's only one direction to go, and that's the good news for the hometown heroes, Tooth Autosport.
And Shea Adam, our BDO pit reporter in the Ford Performance Global Broadcast Centre, is Jeremy Shaw with more news on that car and team.
Yeah, very impressive run this morning for Justin. I mean, he set the 4th fastest time, making his debut in the Michelin Pilot Challenge. Got a fair amount of experience there in all sorts of different sedan cars over the years. He was second in the very competitive Micro Cup here north of the border back in 2020, which was his first season of racing. And he did that time this morning. I spoke to him a little while ago. He did that time this morning on his 4th lap, and the plan was to come in at the end of that lap. Well, he got greedy. He decided to go for another one, lost it in turn 2, put the car on the fence, and therefore has to give up that position and go to the back of the field. But clearly the car is fast, and Justin Di Benedetto has lots of talent as well.
Cars just going through the start-finish line for the first time. We've got 2 hours on the clock for this Canadian Tire Motorsport Part 120. Clues in the name there, the 120. So at the back of the GS field then, the repaired number 22. Justin Di Benedetto will be starting the Tooth Autosport. That's TWO in capitals TH. Autosport. I'm not making that up as I go along, I promise. And that car bearing the scars of this morning. Sorry, I said yesterday earlier. It's been a long day. Of this morning's qualifying incident with a couple of bits of new carbon fibre that they haven't even had a chance to wrap up yet. At IMSA Radio, if you'd like to get in touch with us, Tom Marshallek is driving home from Cleveland and tuned in the car. Sarah Rigby watching and listening on the laptop whilst splitting her attention between this and FIA qualifying by watching the live timing. Sarah in Crewe in England, and plenty of other people tuned in as well. KZ 421, hello to Joe Nickel. And coming to the green flag as we get the 30-plus cars with 23 of the GS GT4 cars now. Jack Hawksworth has the field under his control. He can't go too early. 34 cars, it's a split field, so the 11 TCRs will get their own green flag. He comes down the inside. Now, was that a little bit early by Hawksworth? He brought the inside lane with him, and through goes Jensen Altman and one or two others as well, as they were making up places at the front. Stephen McLaren in RS1 in the red, white and black Porsche certainly jumped ahead of the front row. Started from the outside of the front row. Motorsport in action. McLaren with the blue front end and the black hood. And there's been a spin for the number 57, Bryce Ward. Windward Motorsport, damage to the right front of that car as well. Green flag for the TCRs. That's a great start. Harry Gottsacker leads them through. Chris Miller on the outside of the front row. He's going to get pushed very wide indeed by Mason Filippi, and just about holds onto it, and we go full course yellow straight away. But I think Miller was through there and will hold his position, and of course it had to happen because Bryce Ward in the number 57 AMG GT4 was stranded, but he's got going again, so this could be very quick indeed. The pits will not open because we're within 15 minutes of the start of the race, so any places made up then will be allowed. There's a little bit of a dunch in the front of the number 57, so did he get a little bit of a helping hand? Yeah, he clipped the wall on the inside, but who was that behind him? I think it was Nick Schaefer in the JTR Motorsports engineering car. And let's pick up that from, well, Jeremy, not the start we were looking for.
No, indeed, but looks like he's got away with it. I thought it looked like there was some damage initially on that car, didn't it, when it was stopped to the bottom of the hill, but all four tyres appear to be inflated, but he is going to bring that car onto pit lane, so that's a disappointing start for the car that was lying second in the championship, Bryce Ward and Daniel Morad. They've already had 3 podium finishes this season. They've got an uphill battle now from here to try and get that car back out again before losing a lap. That's the key here for that number 57 team.
And Shea Adam is on the spot with this BDO pit report.
The splitter is cracked. That's the most visible damage that I can... Oh, nope, radiator. Dripping water out the front of this car. The signal's just been given by the crew. The thumb across the throat. That's day done for the 57 Windward Racing crew. And the bad news is that they were very well placed in the championship.
Sorry, Shea, say that first bit again, please.
Cracked radiator, they're done.
And that is, as Shea rightly said, very bad news for the championship. There's no fluid coming out the bottom. They'll be having a look at that to see if there's any penalty that needs assessing. Yeah, I can now see some fluid on the inside of that. It's very difficult to work out what happened to Bryce, but I think he got a little bit of a helping hand from one of the Porsches in behind him. And what do you reckon, Jeremy?
Inconclusive from that evidence, because the contact had already been made, but certainly the number 3 car, I think it was, of Nick Schaefer, was very, very close behind as that number 57 car was spinning. So yeah, the race control will have
the BGP. Sorry, Jeremy.
Was it? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Bryce Ward, he'd started in the 13th position. Nick Schaefer was right behind him on the grid. So, yeah, unfortunate start certainly for him.
Coming to green flag, so it was a very, very quick yellow flag indeed, as they head over the top of the rise into the scene of the crime. First time around, Jack Hawksworth gets a really decent restart. Stephen McAleer was the one that made up the places and followed through the pole sitter at the original start, the side-by-side start. Jensen Altman as well, I said he'd be making up places, and He's up to 7th position in the dark grey Mustang, the McLaren car with the blue racing stripes across the bonnet of that car. Big gap between the GS cars and the TCRs as we've got into the pit lane, a pit caller, and this is the number 98 of Mason Filippi, and that car is into the pit lane with steam or smoke or something coming out of the left front. Oh, I think it's got a puncture.
Tire.
Sheer might be able to see better than I. It's a left front puncture on that Hyundai number 98.
And the Michelin had actually come completely off of the rim. It was running on the inside shoulder, so very heads up of Mason to feel that straight away. He was actually supposed to go to Canada a few days early and spend some time up at the cottage with his co-driver Mark Wilkins. They've put two new front tires on this car while they've got the opportunity. Have not yet lost the lap. That is the most important thing for the number 98 Brian Hurd Autosports Hyundai.
Hello to DJ and the rest of IMSA Chase 3 listening trackside at turn 2A, presumably on 90.7 FM. Thank you for all your hard work. Now, someone else that, right off the track at the back of the field was the number 59 core machine. That's another one of the Mustangs. Bob Michelin started that, did he? Yes, he did. Did he get a bit of a helping hand from a Porsche as well? Possibly the Aston Martin of Frank Depew there that was involved in that. We'll see if race control take a look at that. Yeah, 88 and 59 under review. Well, that's Todd Coleman. And lap 1, turn 2 inconclusive. And the 59, so it was the number 88, Todd Coleman in the Aston, the Archangel car. And the sad sight, I'm afraid, Jeremy, of one of the championship front runners, the Winward car, being pushed away behind the wall, leaking coolant from the front from that little tag of the wall, but it did look like Bryce had got some help. We'll try and get a word.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate for Bryce because he had a really good season. He and Daniel Morad, and of course Daniel Morad, this is his home race for Daniel, so really looking for a strong run here. The Mercedes struggling a little bit in terms of particularly in straight line speed, but the car's very fleet through the corners. But this season, 5 races we've had so far, they've had a second, a pair of thirds, and a sixth, and then one poor result at Sebring, which is other than that they would be right with in tight contention for the championship. As it is, they come in a full 240 points behind Matt Plum, who's going solo for the championship because he had a change of co-driver after the first round of the championship. With Owen Trinkler forced out, which is rather unfortunate.
Yeah, after getting some very nasty burns where there was a fuel line that split, wasn't it? And did a yeoman's work to complete some racing. That was in a test. Wish Owen the best in Nashville, and hopefully we'll see him back in a race car sometime soon.
Yeah, he's ready to go. The team elected not to take him on again, which I thought was rather sad in that situation. But meanwhile, Jack Hawksworth setting sail here. Well, not really spilling away, is he? Because Stephen McAleer is remaining in his wheel tracks, but it's Jack Hawksworth fractionally quicker on each of the last 2. That's 123.817 last round for the new qualifying track record holder. It's still a second or so away from the race lap record that was set by Robin Liddell in a Chevy Camaro 1 year ago of 22.4, 123.8 last time around for race leader Jack Hawksworth.
Hattori Motorsports then leading by half a second. It's not really a gap at the front of the field. Stephen McAleer, Michael De Quesada, Porsche, McLaren, 2 Astons in the shape of Team TGM, Paul Holton in the 46 and the Van der Steur Racing number 19, 2 very different liveries in TCR. Chris Miller and Harry Kotsaka have got Dai Yoshihara, who's made up some positions since the start of the race, right on their tail as they head through and onto the long back straight. Now, before the questions start coming in to at IMSA Radio, we'll just run you through what's going to happen. The TCR cars can do this race on a single pit stop. Whether they change just the front tyres or all 4 tyres will depend on the wear rate and the pace. But in terms of fuel, they can do this by splitting the race exactly in half, and even just a couple of laps of yellow wouldn't have harmed that at all. That's not the case, Jeremy Shaw, for the GS cars. What have they been telling you, or what's your feeling about when we will see these cars come in? It is a 40-minute minimum for the drive time, so that might play a part as well.
Yeah, they can do sort of 50 odd minutes, 50 few minutes comfortably. If they're a major fuel save, they can stretch it a little bit, but I would expect to see them in shortly after 50 minutes if everything kind of is on schedule. There's Mikey, well, it's Chris Miller, isn't it, in the number 17 car, taking over the lead of the class there from Harry Gottsacker. New race engineer on that number 33 car this weekend. Mark Ryder has been around this sport a long time. Former team owner, ran Indy Lights cars a few years ago. Sorry, Mark. But massively experienced. He's joined that team as strategist and race engineer this weekend with the Brian Herder Autosport team.
So Audi leading in TCR, and now the fun and game starts because they've caught up with the back of the line of cars in the GS category, and those TCR cars through the twisty bits, and there's a few twisty bits here, are very quick indeed. Medium and medium quick corners are absolutely what the TCR cars thrive on. What they don't have is the ultimate brute force and grunt to get them down the tubes, down the straight patches of the circuit at the same kind of velocity as the GS cars. We'll watch that play out. Let's head to a BDO pit report with Scott Andrews and Shea Adam.
Scott, this weekend driving with Van der Steur in the number 19 Aston Martin. This GT4 car, how much fun is it to drive?
Yeah, I mean, the whole Michelin Pilot Challenge is amazing. It's some of the best four-wheel racing in the world, in my opinion. So it's a little bit difficult. I can hear myself on the big speaker, so it's anyway, but yeah, I love racing in Pilot Challenge. In IMSA, obviously, we're doing the Endurance Championship with Lone Star and the WeatherTech Championship, and yeah, just really thrilled to be here with Van der Steur Racing. They're a great operation. The car is really fun to drive, and yeah, I'm really enjoying myself, and got to thank all the Canadian fans and any of the US fans as well that came out and supported us.
Rory has been so close to breaking through and getting a win. What do you think the team just needs to make that happen?
Oh, I mean, there's so much luck to go your way in this series. It's so hard to win. Like, you look at the Porsche with McLaren and Hinman, they're two world-class drivers, and on paper they should win every race, and they don't. So it's just, there's so much luck, so has to go into it. They're knocking on the door, they're really close. Like I said, they're a really good operation. I'm really enjoying working with everybody there. Yeah, so hopefully I can, Rory's driving really great right now, really awesome. I think he's actually quicker than the guys in front of him, so let's see what happens, and yeah, hopefully I can bring it home for him.
Yeah, good luck to you when you get in the car later.
Thanks a lot, Shay, appreciate it.
Talking about the number 19 Aston Martin Vantage in 5th position at the moment. We had a spin while Shay was talking, but it was a spin and a recovery by the Ruckus Racing Aston, which is pointing back in the right direction, although it has dropped quite a few places. Scott Blend in the number 45 Aston, all the way to the back of the field, and he will begin a fight back at the moment. Plenty of scrapping going on at TCR, and it's a change of it's not a change of leader, because what they're coming up on, isn't it, is the car that pitted early, the Mason Filippi car of Brian Herder Autosport, which has not been a an impediment to the leader, which is the yellow, black and white Audi, but now needs to get out the way of its teammate. Having gone a lap down, Jeremy, Mason Filippi needs to move over and does so at turn 3.
Yeah, so frustration for Mason Filippi there. Lap down. He'll be trying hard, I think, to try and get that lap back if he can, and it would certainly help that entire team, because he's well placed in the championship. That car's Mason Filippi and Mark Wilkins, they're 4th in the points coming into this weekend, and only 140 out of 2nd place.
Hello to Declan Brennan, who's tuned in at the moment in traffic, leaving Road America on the way back to the airport. Back to on his way back from Road America, rather say, from Logan Airport. So the Ruckus Racing car at turn 5, by the way, he's at that part of the circuit again and negotiates it with no problem. See any... there might have been a little tag from the number 17 Chris Miller Unitronic machine, but that's been reviewed now and no action on that. So race control okay, with a little bit of the incident at turn 6, at 5 and 6. I did say that those touring cars, the TCRs, are very good through the twisty bits, and they stop very quickly and they turn very easily. They're a bit lighter, they're all front wheel drive, of course, and you know, somewhere over 300 horsepower, specifically built as racing machines, although they bear strong resemblance, of course, to the street car versions of the models on which they are based. Chris Miller then sitting now behind the Stephen Cameron Racing Ford Mustang, the blue and orange car, unlikely to be able to drag past as he heads onto the Mario Andretti straight at the front of the field. Just a bit of a gap beginning to break out. It's almost a second now, Jeremy, from the GR Supra GT GT4 of Hattori Motorsports, but by no means Jack Hawksworth can relax here.
No, that's right. I mean, those top 3 cars seem to be very, very closely matched at least at this stage. Jack Hawksworth in the Toyota, Stephen McLaren in the Porsche, and then the McLaren and Michael De Quesada, who got kind of jumped at the start, didn't he? Having started on the front row of the grid, but there seems to be very little to choose between these 3. And it's been a disappointing season, though, so far for number 28 car in particular. I think the RS1 Porsche has been fast just about everywhere, but just a sort of a variety of little instances of different things cropping up and preventing them from getting the string of good results they wanted. I mean, they've had only one podium finish. In fact, only 3 top 10s out of the 5 races, which is not what they expected. They reckoned to be a proper championship contender with Stephen McAleer and Trent Hinman, former champion, of course. So they want wins now.
It's getting toasty on the track for the Michelin tyres. 127 Fahrenheit is 53 Celsius. Normally, once it gets above 50, then it gets the attention of the tyre technicians. 28 Celsius, 82 Fahrenheit in the air. It's not bothering Jack Hawksworth at the moment. He's got clear track ahead of him. Oh, just a little bit of a wobble going up through Quebec corner turn 3, but he handles that rather nicely in the number 50 car. As he comes up towards Moss Corner, the car ahead is quite some way ahead, so he's got clear track for a wee while before he catches up with John Brell in the Montreal Motorsport Toyota Civic. That's the number 6 car that is halfway down the Mario Andretti straight at the moment. Behind him, there's a cracking battle going on. Stephen McAleer and Michael De Quesada in the Porsche and McLaren, 2 low-slung sports cars. Front engine for the Supra, of course. Mid-engine for both the RS1 Porsche and the Motorsport in action, the Mia McLaren Artura. And those 2 are going at it hammer and tongs. Then it's about 6.5 seconds back to the Aston Martin of Paul Holton. He's got 3/4 of a second on another Aston Martin, the 19 It's Rory van der Steur in 5th, and top 6 made up with Jensen Altsman in the Ford Mustang, and the front engine car as well there, 3 in a row. He's only half a second back, so a decent little battle pack there from van der Steur, Jensen Altsman, and Paul Holton just pulling away a little bit from those two at the moment. But Jack Hawksworth dictating this one at the moment, the very picture of poise, the paucity of movement of him in the car. He's not throwing it about, he's now caught up with that Montreal Motorsport Honda Civic, and it cost him 0 time at all there, Jeremy. That was vintage Hawksworth.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? He's driving with a lot of confidence right now and driving absolutely superbly. He loves driving this Toyota. It was supposed to be his co-driver this weekend was initially listed to Parker Thompson, who won this race last year along with Billy Johnson in this same car. But Parker was told to concentrate on the Vassar Sullivan car in GTD. That's what he's doing. So instead it's going to be Jaden Conwright who'll be sharing this number 50 car with Jack Hawksworth, and that pairing already have had a 4th place finish earlier on this season. So Jaden Conwright is a rising star potential in this sport still.
Yeah, first time in Canada for Jaden, recipient of the Diversity Award a couple of seasons ago. John Brell has just put his fastest lap of the race, and then into the pit lane for the Honda FL5 from Montreal Motorsport. Shea Adam is watching a car coming in very, very slowly.
A distinct lack of the ability to go being distributed by this Honda right now. We're going to see some fuel added to it. The engine is still on. At first I thought it was dead stick because there was no sound coming from the car. Now he just stalled it. Let's see. John Brell's staying aboard the car. They're going to add some fuel. Maybe it's a fuel pickup issue, but it seems way too early in the stint for that to be the case. The engine has come off, and they're talking to the driver. Way too early for driver time, let's not forget. So this is not any sort of a advantageous pit stop. But man, I'm perplexed. I'm wondering if maybe they've lost electronics to the car, because not being able to speak to him over the radio, they had to actually open the door and the mechanic lean in and talk to the driver that way. That's pretty old school.
The lights are flashing at the front and the rear of the car. That is to signify it's on the pit lane speed limiter. The bonnet, the hood is coming up, and a single mechanic is having a look there. Is it maybe a turbo issue or something like that? There's not a huge amount of intensity on that car. And Shea Adam is watching. And what are they messing with there, Shea?
The mechanic leaned in when he put the hood up, so I leaned in with him, and it was looking straight at the SADF gearbox. Now they're spinning the wheels. They're trying to get him to restart the car. He does have it engaged in reverse. Now he's put it into neutral and first, and nothing.
Pit lane there. Try and get that confirmed for you. Meantime, so at the front of the TCR field, Chris Miller has pulled out round about a second on the Hyundai in second place. The Hyundai that's running 3rd in the line is a lap down after that very early pit stop for a left front puncture for Mason Philippi for Brian Hurton at Autosport. So the number 98 car running in lockstep with the leaders, but a lap down already. Now Shea's got some good news for those following that Honda, because I think John Brell's gone, yes he has, John Brell's gone back out again, Shea Adam. What was the problem?
Yes, he has. Well, I'm going to have to confirm with the team, but to me it looked like they were plugging things back in on the SADF gearbox.
Okay, interesting. Wonder if he couldn't change gear then, and that's why he maybe dropped it into neutral. At the front of the field, 2 seconds is the lead now. Hawksworth for Toyota Supra, Porsche in second for RS1. Stephen McAleer, then the McLaren. Just beginning to settle down at the front. That battle for second and third is still going on. A positioning sensor on the gearbox is the answer. for the Montreal Motorsport Honda. Still a relatively new car, that, of course. That's the new one of the new shape cars. FL being L being later in the alphabet means that's the later car, and FK is the earlier shape of the car. Well, after a little bit of an untidy start, Jeremy Shaw, I'm going to tempt fate and say this Canadian Tire Motorsport 120 and the Michelin Pilot Challenge is settling down nicely.
I would say so, yeah. But the top three, though, pulling away just on a regular basis from the fourth place car, Paul Holton. That's the championship leading car, of course. For Paul, yeah, he's been pretty much out of the sport for a couple of years before getting the opportunity to come back and join this team at Sebring. And since then, however, they've had a fourth, a sixth, a second, and then a win last time out. So it's been a tremendous run for Paul. And his main job, he knows that his co-driver Matt Plum has a pretty substantial championship lead of 240 points. You get 350 for a win, but a substantial lead coming into this weekend. So Paul's job, just bring that car to the driver change in a good position, in one piece, no dramas, and he's doing exactly that at the moment. He's got Paul Holton's got Rory van der Steur right behind him, however, who's just set his best lap of the race in the number 19 Aston Martin.
We are 26 minutes into this race. Expect some pit stops around about 40 minutes. That's the minimum driver time. Jack Hawksworth at the moment controlling the race nicely, lapping consistently in the high to mid to high 24s depending on the traffic. Comes through to the end of the lap, completing another one, and still that battle sitting in behind. And in fact the McLaren is up to second, ahead of Stephen McAleer. Was that the last lap, Jeremy, or did that happen on the lap before?
Yeah, good question.
Second?
No, it was this. It might have been a lap before, possibly.
Yeah.
But,
okay. Thank you.
Good question.
And he's pulled out 0.8 of a second. So the blue-fronted McLaren, the white hindquarters, and it happened in traffic at Moss Corner. Not even a slight mistake by Stephen McAleer. He took the normal line to square off the corner, and a beautiful piece of driving by Michael de Quesada, who took the opportunity to dive down the inside, get alongside through the first part of Moss Corner at turn 5, and then put himself to the inside of turn 6. And by that time the game was up as far as second place was concerned. Stephen McAleer dropped in behind, but that fight, I am sure, will continue through the race.
And you will now see how fast that McLaren really is, because I think he was definitely bottled up behind Stephen McAleer's Porsche. So we'll see now whether he can reduce that deficit to the Toyota out front. Meanwhile, this a little bit farther back down the field, Frank Depew in the GS Aston Martin car number 71, struggling to keep Sam Baker behind him. Sam's doing a really, really nice job on his, he made his debut at Watkins Glen in this championship, but a youngster, lots of F1600 experience around here. That family, the Baker family, they've been around this sport a long, long time, and as I said earlier on, based in Bowmanville, so literally just down the road here. And Sam Baker doing a really, really nice job. They're running in third position, just ahead of Dai Yoshihara, the drifting king, in the second of the Montreal Motorsport Group Hondas, the other one having had that problem a little while ago, number 6 car.
Yeah, just underlining what we were saying earlier on, the lap times for the front-running TCRs, 1:25.2 for Chris Miller last time around, and that is exactly almost to the 1,000 what Bob McCallion is doing in the Core Motorsports Ford Mustang, number 59 car, which is 2 seconds ahead of him. And that is the problem. They are lapping at the same speed, but they make their laps, their speed around the lap in different places. The TCR cars, although they're front-wheel drive, they are very nimble and very good in the twisty stuff. We've got another Honda in the pit lane. This is Morgan Burkhardt in the number 99 Victor Gonzalez Racing. Excuse me, it's not a Honda, it's a Hyundai. VGRT swapped a while ago. And that is an unscheduled stop for the number 99. We'll get Shay to bring us a BD or pit report on that as soon as. Right front suspension was being looked at there. And sending back out, maybe a bit of contact. At IMSA Radio, if you want to get in touch with us this Super Saturday, still to come. Qualifying for the Chevrolet Grand Prix here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. We'll have that for you in sound and vision, whether you're in the US, here in Canada, or further afield. And then the first of two at Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup races. And again, that is live in sound and vision, no subscription required for our sound and vision this afternoon. Go to IMSA.tv or to IMSA Radio and click on the live video button at the top left-hand side. Let's pick up a few battles here. Dr. William Talley, 5th position in TCR in the KMW Motorsport Alpha, just crests the hill at turn 2 and dives down through Clayton Corner. He's got a bit of company. He's got Preston Brown and Taylor Hagler in the 76 and 77 Hyundai Elantras, and they've got the leader coming round behind them as well. They'll have to keep their eyes open there. Hello to Right Turn Lover, who's right in the centre of Europe. RTL, good evening, as it is for you. Indicator of TCR speed. The overall best Sector 1 time is by the Montreal Motorsport Group Honda, a TCR car, the number 93. Another left front puncture. So this is the 99 car again. They'd looked at the right-hand side of that car, but the problem was at the left, may have had a slow puncture and they didn't pick it up. Exactly as we saw with the Mason Philippi earlier on in the number 98 car, as that car came into the pits very, very early on. It's a quick tyre change for the left front only new Michelin going on. No, they're going to do... Oh, the right front doesn't look too good either, to be honest. It's got 2 front punctures. It was a puncture either side. I've never seen that before. Both front tyres had gone down, so it's 2 new Michelins for that car and sent on its way. Temperatures soaring here. Track temp, however, has dropped a little bit. It was 124 Fahrenheit, which was well into the 50s Celsius, now 48 Celsius, 118 Fahrenheit. 33 minutes gone. So about 7-8 minutes, Jeremy, to the potential for pit stops if you want to do your driver change spot on that 40 minutes.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of drivers that will want to do that. The key is for them to keep the car on the lead lap, not to be lapped by the overall leader. And there's a few who've achieved that, and a few that haven't. And one of those who's trying to is number 71 car of Frank Depew. He's got a few seconds in hand yet. So I think over the number 50 car, yeah, no, he's got quite a long way ahead of him actually, so he should be just fine, because yeah, he's just fine.
He's coming up to turn 3 now in some TCR traffic. The leader coming to turn 1 now, also in a bit of TCR traffic, and it is the 5th place Alpha that's ahead of him. Now Hawksworth will need to bide his time, be a little bit patient as he goes across the top of the brow down into Clayton Corner, and holds off for a second, closes up to the back of the front wheel drive Alfa Romeo Giulietta. Super little piece of kit that, something a bit different, lovely to see it. And Will Talley just pulled over for a moment there as if he was going to let the leader through. Hawksworth should be able to get up the right-hand side into Moss Corner, but no, Talley blocks him just a little bit, as much as to say, hang on, just wait till we get onto the Mario Andretti straight. You should have the ponies to go past me there. And that's exactly what Hawksworth does. Pulls out to driver's left, gets a little bit of a draft from the slightly more upright TCR car. It's got some a bit of time though. De Quesada has half the lead. 1:23.7 last time around. That was fully 7/10 quicker than the leader, Jack Hawksworth, who was caught in that TCR traffic.
Yeah, but that was the best lap of the race so far for Michael De Quesada, so that McLaren pushing on now. And Hawksworth, his previous lap was a 23.8. That last lap in some traffic was a 24.8. And this one, he's just come across the line against a 25.5. So certainly that traffic was costly for Jack Hawksworth. But no doubt about it, Michael De Quesada has got his head down and he's charging after Jack Hawksworth in the lead of this race.
Yeah, it didn't help, I think, that Preston Brown in the blue and white number 76 Hyundai Elantra was having his own battle with Dr. William Talley in the black Alpha. They've split up as the leader went through, but they were pretty much nose and tail. Leader now into turn 5 and 6. Gap just opened out again a little bit now that the Hattori Motorsports turn in GR Supra GT4 under the control of Jack Hawksworth has a little bit more clear track ahead of him. There's a little gaggle of cars just going through the S's now. See if I can identify some of them as they come through. Looks like Sean Quinlan and the BGB Motorsports, that's a Ford Mustang, Stephen Cameron car, the BGB Motorsports Porsche. Dan Yoshihara's in there as well, I think, in that little group of cars. Battle for the lead in TCR's warmed up again, Jeremy.
Yeah, and they're up to 18th to 19th positions overall now. Next in their sights of the GS category will be Bob Michelin in that Core Motorsports Ford Mustang car number 59, but it's still Chris Miller who leads. He took the lead early on in this race from got second the pole sitter, and he's maintaining it, as you say, less than a second still between those top two. Sam Baker has finally managed to get past Frank Depew in the GS Aston Martin, but Sam Baker still in third position, but now 10 seconds behind the leading duo in TCR.
Across the line for that group of cars that are battling away behind the TGM machine. But at the moment, as we are coming towards, it'll be one, maybe two more laps. Yeah, two more laps before we cross the 40-minute mark. And at the front of the field, the gap is holding steady around about a second to a second and a half between the front engine GR Supra and the mid-engined McLaren. There they go across the line. Another fast lap by De Quesada. That car's fastest lap of the race again. And he's within touching distance of the fastest GS lap of the race. The GT4 car's really well suited to this circuit. And it's down to just under 1.4 seconds. Michael De Quesada then with the bit between his teeth. See, he tries to get back on terms with Jack Hawksworth as this next time around. No, it's going to be one more lap for these two. But of course the teams further back down, they'll be looking very carefully at the elapsed time. Right now, there is 1 hour, 21 minutes and 27, 26, 25, 24 to go.
Yeah, for these top contenders, John, I wouldn't expect to see them onto pit lane just yet. I mean, they're running well, they're running good lap times. Last time around for Jack Hawksworth was a 1:23.8. That's within 0.2 of a second of his fastest lap of the race. So super consistency here from Hawksworth. Ditto for Michael De Quesada, as you said, has turned two almost identical laps out of the last 3 laps, each fractionally quicker than the last. A 23.7 it was last time. But they're pulling away now quite rapidly from Stephen McAleer in third position, so 6 seconds all of a sudden they get from second to third.
Frank Depew off the circuit, he'd been doing a great job. This might cost him the lead lap in the Rebel Rock Racing Aston. It was the bottom of turn 2, Clayton Corner. onto the runoff area. He was in a little group of TCR cars there. He's got him pointing in the right direction, and actually at the end of this lap he'll be able to pit. So if he comes in as soon as he can, he'll probably stay on the lead lap until he pits. They are up on the wall according to Shea Adam. 3, 2, 1. 40 minutes now has elapsed. So anybody who wants to come in and make their single driver change, now is the time to do it. Shea Adam, it looks to me as if there's going to be quite a few people coming in at the earliest opportunity.
For sure. We've got Sean Quinlan will be pitting this lap and handing over to Greg Leafouche in the Stephen Cameron Racing Ford Mustang GT4. That's number 43. But the first car in, actually onto the lane as the Ford does come in, is the number 38 BGP Motorsports Porsche. This was driven today by John Teesey because Tom Collingwood, the normal Canadian full-season co-driver, suffering from bronchitis. Tom, we're thinking about you. We wish you were here. We know there were a big contingent of people who were coming to cheer you on, but hopefully Spencer Capelli taking aboard this Porsche with 4 new tires and a whole lot of fuel can make you proud today. Also into the pit lane, we do have Frank Depew for Rebel Rock Racing. This car, which won back in 2019, well, the team did, the car did, the car's brand new, but they did win earlier this year in this car. 3 different Aston Martins have taken victories this year from 3 different teams, some 3 different versions of it, interestingly enough. Fuel and tires for Robin Liddell is the first car to get back down and rolling is Greg Leafouche in the Ford. He was the first one to hit his box. Also on the pit lane, I see Aaron Thielitz standing up on the wall, ready to take over another one of the race-winning Aston Martins this year, the 88 Archangel. We've got the 91 Riley Porsche in now. That's the Kelly Moss with Riley. That's Riley Dickinson about to do his first racing laps around CTMP. Hard to believe the young man has never actually done a race here at this track, but that means that Mike McCarthy is done with his driving time. And also up on the wall, the number 64 Team TGM, that will be Ted Giovannis Dunn as he rumbles by there. And Hugh Plum taking over. They're the only bronze car entered this weekend, so they will be taking class victory there.
Still fueling on the Porsche at pit out as the TGM team go to work on the Porsche Austin supported car. 5 stud fastenings on the Porsche. You hear the wheel guns going to work. Porsche down and away. It's the Kelly Moss with Riley, and Riley Dickinson now behind the wheel of that number 91 car. So let's keep an eye on that car. That is the best placed of the cars that's made its first stop in GX. Todd Coleman, Archangel Motorsport, Aston in the pit lane as well. So these are the early stoppers, Jeremy. There's almost 2 schools of thought here, because you're not going to pull Jack Hawksworth out when he's doing this. So the 40 minutes isn't a consideration for those guys. He'll go till he runs out of fuel, won't he?
Yes, he will, particularly when he's running good lap times, but he's still, I mean, super consistent, Jack Hawksworth. 23.9, 24.0, 24.1 it was last time around, but now the McLaren is within a second as they cross the line to complete their 30th lap. The McLaren's going to have a little bit of traffic on those Montreal Motorsport Group Hondas through turn 1, so it might cost them a little bit of momentum. Actually slid a bit wide there, did Michael De Quesada. Lost a bit of ground. It was a bit of a mistake, to be honest.
Yeah, De Quesada rounding up one of the TCR cars, the Hondas, as we've been talking about, and sets back off. He got it down to within 0.8 of a second, and he's lost 2 seconds basically in that little exchange. But
yeah,
the
the Honda didn't do anything wrong, did it, John? It was just no. I think Michael kind of thought about going around the outside. By the time he thought about it, he was already in the corner and running wide on his own, so that certainly cost him some momentum.
There's not a huge amount of performance differential between the TCRs and the GS. TCRs don't run full power in IMSA. They're about, I think they're about 88% or 90% of what they can run at. So you're talking about probably. Now, interestingly, here comes the core number 59. Bob Michelin is out of that multicoloured Mustang. Meantime, at Motorsport in action, I can't see anybody up on the wall, so that's the same sort of thought process as the GT4 Mustang roars out with that glorious sounding V8. Same sort of thought process for Mia, Motorsport in action, as the lead car. Also in the pit lane, Ruckus Racing, Scott Blind, who had that little spin earlier on in his number 45, Aston Martin. And that will be Andrew Davis taking over. Multiple track limits warning. This is Turner Motorsport's Dylan McAvern in the number 95 car. That's early, just 46 minutes. So they are going to be walking a tightrope for the last hour and 14 minutes.
You're right, John, because that will carry over to be a different driver for the rest of the race after Dylan McAvan hands over that car to Robert McGuinness. But the warnings will carry over, so that's not what Robert McGuinness needs coming in here. That team, that pairing, running third in the championship, and with the problem early on for Bryce Ward and Daniel Morad, that already effectively moves them into second. So it's been a good run for them. And here's Michael De Casale. He's lost a little bit more ground on that last time, but 124.0. So 24.0 is pretty good. That's only 0.3 down his fastest lap. So he's back up to speed now. But that mistake in turn one cost him more than a couple of seconds to that race-leading Toyota of Jack Hawksworth. These two are still running super consistent laps out of the front and pulling away rapidly from Stephen McAleer in third position, losing probably half a second a lap to that pairing. And then behind them, well, the gap between third and fourth, Stephen McAleer in the RS1 Porsche.
That right now, Spencer Pumpelly for BGB. Too many crew over the wall when that car was in for its scheduled pit stop a lap or two ago. So BGB getting Spencer Pumpelly straight through and serving that penalty, clearing that penalty off as quickly as possible. Lead at the front of the field, 2.1 seconds at the moment. The best of the cars that have stopped, Riley Dickinson, is off the lead lap, of course, down in 22nd position and behind 7 TCR cars. And he's right in now. In fact, he's just dealt with Taylor Hagler, so he's got another couple of seconds. He wants some clean air in that Kelly Mosworth Riley Porsche. They were the first to come into the pit lane. One of the first to come into the pit lane, but the highest placed car, as Luca Mars puts the Cole Motorsports Ford Mustang GT4 number 59 fastest lap of the race in for that car. 1:24.7, took it all from Jim McCallion. And Aaron Thielitz, see above, Bob McCallion, excuse me. An Aston Martin Vantage driver, he's just put that car's fastest lap, 23.7. That is very quick indeed. And a 23.5 by Robin Liddell is the fastest lap of the race the time before last. He's got a little bit of catching up to do, but Frank Depew did stay just on the lead lap. He's in traffic now, and he's right in behind Gregory Leafuge in the Stephen Cameron car. They're battling over 18th and 19th. And Robin will want to deal with this little group of pit stoppers ahead of him. This is a genuine battle for position. 4 cars coming out of Moss Corner and onto the Mario Andretti straight. 2 Porsches, a Ford Mustang and an Aston Martin. There's a lapped car in there as well, though, I think. As they come through.
Martinez now gets the fastest lap of the race at 123.111 for number 88 car that's running ahead of that pair. You were talking about Gregory Learfuge and Robin Liddell. So Aaron Thielitz there having taken over from Todd Coleman in the Archangel car number 88. He's running in 24th position overall, but just turned the fastest lap of the race, and 23.111 again. The lap record was to Robin Liddell, or is to Robin Liddell, still at 122.4.
Yeah, seeing a lot of light colours on the timing screen. That means people are picking up the pace. And Liddell has got past Gregory Learfuge and now is setting his sights on the number 67 Porsche. Right ahead of him, that's Sebastian Carrazzo. So some of these cars he's actually taking a lap back from as he's going by them. Carrazzo not yet stopped in the number 67 Porsche, the mostly white car on the Mario Andretti straight at the moment. Coming down to an hour and 9 minutes to go to the Canadian Tire Motorsport Part 120 IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge, live in sound and vision. Good to have your company wherever you are in the world. Jeremy and John in the booth, and Shea is our BDO pit reporter. It's gone quiet in the pits for the moment. Now we're waiting for the GS cars to use up their fuel, and we're waiting for around about half distance for the TCR. Shea's just said in my ear, when it gets quiet in the pit lane, it makes me nervous. At the front of the TCR field, we haven't talked about that for a while, Jeremy. Chris Miller, having been closed down on by Harry Gottsacker 3 or 4 laps ago, has pulled back out again, only by a second or so. But this is all traffic dependent, I think, and as some of the GS cars come through, Sebastian Carrazzo's into the pits for the Porsche number 67. It's Sam Baker and the Baker Racing Audi number 52 in 3rd. That's a great run. And Dai Yoshihara, who started 6th, has consolidated a 4th place. And then there's a bit a longer gap back to Will Talley and Preston Brown, who are split up now by about 4 or 5 seconds. That's how it stands in TCR.
Yeah, and I would expect the overall leaders, John, to be on the pit lane probably in the next couple of laps. 52 minutes into the race, we had 1 lap of yellow right at the start. But yeah, I would say next couple or 3 laps we should see the leaders and wholesale pit stops at the front of the field.
The change of direction through the end of 8 into 9 and then straightening the car up for 10. It's a glorious thing to see from these saloon and GT based cars. They're very much racing cars nowadays. TCR, highly sophisticated racing cars built by the manufacturers. GT4, see above comment. And the way they handle that transition from the end of the left-hander at 8 through to the first part of the right-hander at 9 across the crown of the road as well. Really lovely to watch down there. If you're on the outside of the circuit, good place to see the suspension working on the cars, and the leads just coming down again towards the end of this stint. The McLaren has held on to the Toyota GR Supra GT4. They've pulled out 13.5 seconds on Stephen McAleer in the RS1 Porsche. Now, that is a quick car, that RS1 machine.
Yeah,
Then there's another 11 seconds back to Paul Holton in the Aston Martin, Jeremy.
That's exactly right, John. And it was 20 laps ago that Steve McAleer lost second position to De Quesada, and you say now 14 seconds behind him. So more than half a second a lap he's losing out to the McLaren during this portion of the race. Those top 2 clearly in a class of their own at the moment, and Paul Holton there, just doing a good steady job there. I'm sure he possibly can. If he can get 1 hour mark, then potentially he can get to the end of the race. But I don't think any of the GS cars can do that. Yeah,
both of the leading cars are into the pit lane. It was 1.5 seconds at the pit lane line. Shea Adam is watching McLaren versus Toyota in the pit lane.
And watching McLaren first because they hit their box first. It is Michael Casada out, Jesse Lazar in. They were doing fuel and 4 tires for that McLaren. Importantly, for fans of this team who paid attention earlier on in the season, it is staying up on its air jack. So the issue that they had in Mid-Ohio has been completely fixed. Did not reappear at Watkins Glen. Is not reappearing here at the home track. For Hattori Motorsport, Jack Hawksworth is out. Gonna go get ready for the GTV Pro qualifying session coming up next, but he'll still stay around to cheer on Jaden Conwright, a young man who, again, has never raced at CTMP. Now, inheriting the race lead is one thing. Inheriting the race lead at a track you've never raced on before, it's a little bit different nerve-wise, but they are doing 4 tires and fuel for the Toyota, and this Toyota finished first in the race last year as well. We know it's quick. I also see up on the wall Trent Hinman for RS1 in their Porsche as the McLaren is rolling, and let's see which car gets out first. McLaren is on sticker tires. Toyota is on sticker tires. Toyota leaves its box. McLaren is about the same distance it was leaving as it was coming in. But the difference now, 2 different drivers.
Slightly tardy getaway, if I'm being really picky, by Jaden Conwright. He was being waved away for a good second. I think they would have actually given themselves a better exit, and they've got caught in some traffic, both of those cars, as they come out. So Jaden Conwright into the race. Stephen McAleer pits from what was a net 3rd position in the RS1 Porsche, as just trying to pick up where the number 50 car has cycled out into the fold. But of course everybody who was behind him except the Riley Dickinson driven Porsche, who was somewhere back, has still to make their first pit stop. And everybody coming into the pit now will be doing a full service. So Stephen McAleer out of the car, 4 new Michelin tyres for the 28 Porsche. We'll pick up some driver interviews once they've taken off their helmet and cooled themselves down a little bit. 28 Celsius in the air is 82 Fahrenheit. Here comes the number 50, our leader, before the pit stops, and will cross the line in the hands of Jaden Conwright in 10th position, but with no cars ahead who have made a stop. So that is still net leader as it stands right now, and the gap between the 2 leaders then, Jaden Conwright and now Jesse Lazar, is 1.7, so it's almost exactly as it was before that first cycle of pit stops, Jeremy.
Exactly right, John. It was 1.3 seconds between that pair as on the lap before they made their pit stops, and as you say, 1.7 seconds now.
The Victor Gonzalez Racing Hyundai just trying to make room for the leader and actually not doing themselves any favours. Went off the track there in turn 3 as it was heading up through Quebec corner. So Paul Holton has inherited the lead at the moment as we've got some TCR stops coming in now and into the pit lane for the number 52 Audi. That was Sam Baker from Baker Racing. They came in from 3rd. Dai Yoshihara came in from 4th in the number 93 Honda. And Shea Adam is watching the TCR stops.
It's son handing over to father for Baker Racing and the number 52, Dean Baker, taking over. We've got Carl Whitmer aboard the number 93 Honda now for the MMG organization. We've got Turner Motorsport in. It is Robbie Foley aboard the number 96 now for Francis Seldorf starting that car. And the 34 JMF Mercedes has done the swap over. Mackay Stevens started the car. It's Jesse Webb, Canadian, who's going to be taking it to the checkered flag. Although Jesse's from the other side of the country, but that's okay. We'll let him have that. We did have the RS1 Porsche in as well. That was the number 28. Trent Hinman took that over. And right now, Jeff Westphal is waiting for the refueling to finish and the tires to be completed on the right-hand side of his BMW for the Carbon with Peregrine Racing BMW. That car, which had its best finish of the season the last time out, looking to try and get its first podium finish of the season. Into the pit lane comes the number 46. This is Paul Holden handing over to championship leader Matt Plum. Let's see, fuel and 4 tires. Yep, they've got 4 tires up on the wall, and they do have stickers on them, so those will be new. And we await Dylan McIvern in the number 95 Turner Motorsport BMW, because he needs to hand over to Rob McGinnis, who looks about as eager as a race car driver can. I think if he could be bouncing up and down on the pit wall. Oh no, now he is. He is bouncing up and down on the pit wall. He's ready to go.
Yeah, a lot of drivers do a little stretch or little squats to get themselves ready, get the blood pumping. Yeah. Spot on an hour to go, Jeremy. We are halfway through the Canadian Tire Motorsport Part 120.
That's right, and 2 cars only have yet to make their pit stops in GS. One of them is the car that now leads the race. That's Jensen Altzman in kind of a 13th from Michelin Motorsports in its Ford Mustang GT4. He's going to have done more than half of the race. So potentially, if there's no slowdowns, let's put it that way, then potentially he could get to the end of this race on just a 1 pit stop, which would certainly be, I think, put him in the driver's seat. But number 46 car just has come onto the pit lane this time around from the lead. That is Paul Holton to hand over the championship leader Matt Plum. Also in is car number 44, that does a really good first stint there for Moise Uretsky.
Yeah, and Justin Di Benedetto has stayed out.
Yes.
Remember, he started dead last in GS, but again, the same is true. If they can save a pit stop and get a few laps of yellow, maybe, so they don't have to save too much in the second half of the race, that it might not win them the race, Jeremy, but it'll bring them into contention.
Very much so, John, and Justin had got that car from the back of the field up to 12th position before the round of pit stop started. So an excellent first stint here. Good bounce back from Justin after that mistake in qualifying, and that Tooth Autosport team, two TH, by the way, two TH, Travis and Trevor Hill, 2 brothers who run Tooth Autosports, and they've done a super job this weekend. That team we've seen them in the past in a couple of races here and there over the last few years, generally in TCR. They ran an Audi, stepping up this year though to the GT4 car. They've been running in the regular FEL series here north of the border and had a lot of success over the years, and it'll be Travis Hill who will take over finally from Justin Di Benedetto, who's now done well over an hour and 1 minute, and still yet to see that car on the pit lane as we see the TCR leaders now into the pits.
And the 33 Hyundai went 1 lap further than the Audi number 17. Mikey Taylor's on his out lap at the moment. Shea Adam is watching Robert Wickens being installed into the 33 Hyundai.
One half of the Canadian Hyundai contingency is taking over. That's Rob Wickens. It will be Mark Wilkins in the other car, the number 98, that remains a lap down on the rest of the field. So right now, Canada's hopes of a Brian Herta Hyundai Autosport victory lies in the hands, the very capable hands, of Rob Wickens. They're doing front tires for that car and fuel and installing the new driver. Waiting on the fuel at this point. Finally into the pit lane has come Jensen Altzman. I think he was having a little bit too much fun out there. Plugging in Chad McCumbee. 4 new sticker tires for this Ford Mustang will be going on. And Ford with a pretty good record here at CTMP. Victory last, I think it was 2019 in the hands of Kyle Marcelli, if my memory serves. Might have been 2018 actually. But they do have a very strong record and a big fan base for Ford Mustang here, especially since there's a big Ford plant just down the street in Oakville. Just waiting on the fuel and the left rear tire to be secured to this Ford Mustang, and then it will be Chad out on the racetrack, as now into the pit lane comes the number 77. That's another one of the Brian Herta Autosports Hyundais. That is Taylor Hagler and Bryson Morrison in that car, and the 98 is in as well. So here we go. It's Mark Wilkins time. Yes, John?
And the lead in TCR changed over that pit stop cycle. Robert Wiggins was out in front of the number 17 car, but of course the 17 Liquid Moly sponsored machine has got the heat and the pressures where they need to be in the Michelin tyres. And this is a scrap for the lead in TCR. Robert Wiggins has done a cracking job in being able to defend. And someone's gone off on the back straight, the PGP car. The PGP Porsche, I think. No, it's the Tooth Autosport car. It's the Tooth Autosport car. Justin Di Benedetto on the way into the pits, one presumes.
No, he's run
full
out of fuel.
course yellow Has he run out of fuel?
Yeah, if he
Has
has
he
been on
had
the
an
pit lane,
incident?
he must have run
Oh
out
my
of fuel, John.
goodness me. He's nosed it in towards the wall. I thought there'd been an incident at one stage because of the jaunty angle. And this is manna from heaven for Hyundai and for Brian Herder Autosport, because they have held on to the lead. They did a lap longer than the lead Audi in TCR, and therefore they managed to get out quickly and took the lead. Now, let's see if we can work out what happened to the number 22 Creator Labs Porsche. Yeah,
That's out of fuel.
stuttered, stumbled, flubbered, flustered, and stopped coming out of Moss Corner. Literally one lap too many. Ah, what a shame. That strategy had worked really well for them. It really had.
Oh, no doubt about it, John. I mean, he'd done a fantastic job through that stint, and unfortunately, it's the same story as in qualifying. He did one lap too many in qualifying because he'd put the car fourth on the grid, did one more lap, which wasn't the original plan, and spun it and went off the road in turn 2. But look, it's all about learning, isn't it, for this young man? He's 27 years of age, but he's not a full-time racing driver. He's a business graduate from York University, and that was a really fine run for him. And that Tooth Autosport team, yeah, they might have made a mistake there by trying to stay out a little bit too long, but a great run nonetheless, and welcome to the championship in the top class.
Now, are we going to see anybody when the pit lane opens? Are we going to see anybody from GS? If you're further down the field and you did an early pit stop, you'll come in. So we'll see all the people who, surely all the people that stopped at 40 minutes, Jeremy, will come in. In fact, pretty much everybody might come in, because that means they can go full rich to the end, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the top few might not. I mean, number 46 car and the number 44 went the longest on that tank of fuel, and number 13, of course. So I think for number 13 car, I would very much doubt that they would come in. I mean, if they did, they'd need the smallest of splashes just to be absolutely sure. So there'd be a very, very quick stop if number 13 car came in. But they ran 63 minutes on that first tank.
That car's just been in and through the pits. In fact, no, that was the outlap. This is the outlap, isn't it, for Chad McCumbee? Yeah.
No. It's not.
He's only showing down the pits once. Where's the 13 gone?
Okay.
Yeah, that was his outlap. Yeah, that was his outlap. Sorry, I got confused by what I was seeing on the screen. Into the pit lane for Jake Conright. Now, the pits were open, so that's fine. So Jaden Conright is pulling out, but he's being passed in the pit lane by the Mia McLaren. The lead of the race has changed on the pit lane, and also got to work out where the 43 is. I think they were a lap off the lead. Yes, they were, the Stephen Cameron racing car. So they're a lap down. So on the pit lane, getting the splash, we have got a new effective leader. But of course, Trent Hinman stayed out. So the Porsche 718 of RS1 is now leading the motor race. And Trent Hinman will presumably try to go as deep into this race as possible. While we can, let's take some reaction from the pit lane and a BDO pit report from Shea Adam.
Well, Michael De Casado, it was hard work out there, but your car just inheriting the effective race lead by that pit stop sequence. You're pumped up. How much good energy do you think this team has right now?
Oh, I mean, we definitely have momentum going in our favor. The car really did a great job during that stint. Jack is a super fast driver, and it was great to try to chase him down. Yeah, you know, I just hope we can make it to the end and knock out a good points finish. So,
with these VP racing weekends as well, where Jesse is driving another McLaren again for the team, is it a different McLaren actually? First question, and is it helping with the ability to do setup and different things for you guys?
it is a different McLaren, yeah. I think for sure it's an advantage. We get to try different setups and just understand the track and the car and how they interact even more, so for sure.
Well, good luck the rest of today.
Thank you.
So, Robin Liddell splashed. Let me tell you who splashed. Robin Liddell splashed for Rebel Rock Racing's Aston. It'd been more than a splash, actually, because they came in after 40 minutes, as did Luca Mars for Core. See the same story, as did Aaron Teelitz for Archangel in the Aston, as did Jared Thomas for the Porsche from JTR, and Lee Jackson from their number 67 Porsche. Very small splashes then for the number 50 from Jaden Conwright, the which is the Hattori Motorsports Toyota. An even smaller splash for Jesse Lazar, who got by that Toyota on pit lane. And who else did I see that had come in? Riley Dickinson had come in as well in the number 91 Porsche as well for Kelly Moss with Riley. Those that haven't are the top 8. The top 8 have stayed out. So that is RS1's number 28 Porsche, Van der Steur Racing's number 19 Aston, Team TGM's 46 Aston, Carbarn's number 39 BMW, the Turner Motorsport number 96 BMW, JMF's number 34 Mercedes, Turner's BMW number 95, the 44 Baby Bull Racing Porsche, and those are the top 8. So they did not take advantage of that stop. I think everybody in TCR, Jeremy, was pretty much done with what they had to do, so there was no real advantage to anybody in TCR, but we will of course split the classes before the restart, so everybody down to, I think Spencer Pumpelly fell off the lead lap in the BGB car, so I think everybody down to Robert Liddell, the top 16, are on the lead lap in GS.
Yeah, I would agree with that, John, and that's certainly going to be an interesting second half of the race. I'm surprised number 50 car didn't take a gamble. It's certainly more of a gamble for the number 28 car to stay out, but we've seen in the past that Trent Hinman is very good at managing his fuel load, and he will be hoping that this caution lasts as long as possible. But the guys I'm more surprised about, you wouldn't have expected the other cars that had come in just a few laps ago to come in again, but I'm not quite sure number 13 car lost a lap though, because something must have gone wrong on that car, because they should have been comfortably on the lead lap, so something must have gone wrong during the pit stop for the McCumbee McAleer number 13 car. Chad McCumbee is the wheel of that car, but he should have been in right into contention, and he's not.
Shea Adam can add to that. They have only been down the pit lane the one time, Shea, so it wasn't a penalty. What went wrong with the Chad McCumbee driven McCumbee McAleer Ford Mustang number 13 that Jensen Holtzman had done such a good job with?
Refueling. They had the nozzle plugged in, but the fuel was not flowing for about the first 2/3 of the pit stop, so it cost them even more time when the refueler realized that fuel was not going in to then reassess and try a different angle, in essence, to get the fuel to get in that car.
Wow. Okay.
Heartbreak.
Yeah, one of those things that can happen. Bit of refueling for the number 64 Aston Martin. That's Hugh Plum. He is off the lead lap for TGM. And so we will restart with the TCRs dropping behind the remainder of the GS cars. So all the GS cars that are still running, and reminder that we have lost. Who have we lost? Actually, I don't think we've lost anybody at the moment, have we? Did the Go Racing Audi, that didn't start, Jeremy, did it?
I don't think it did, no. They didn't qualify either, so they must have had a problem yesterday. That's a shame. They've had some strong runs recently, including their best run for the father and son team last time out, a 6th place finish at Watkins Glen, so that's disappointing for them.
Looks like we're going to get the Tooth Autosport Justin Di Benedetto car back from behind the wall in a short time. We've lost the Victor Gonzalez Racing Hyundai Elantra. That car's been out for quite some time, and the Winwood Racing Bryce Ward car, lap 1 turn 2, got a push and ended up in the wall. The perpetrator, well, they got away with that one. Just a graze on the wall for Bryce. He did a really good job of trying to keep it straight, but it broke the radiator, and that car now is an official retirement as per race control. And Aaron, who's watching all these kind of things, is our usual mentor and guardian angel and guiding light and many more things at Concord at the moment.
Yeah, and for
So,
that number 50, just a very quick note
ahead,
to
Jeremy,
John on that number 57 car, Daniel Morad and Bryce Ward. I mean, didn't the same thing happen to Daniel here last year? Adam Saul said, just sent me a note to say that this is the second time in as many years he didn't get a chance to drive in his home race. I can't remember what the problem was 1 year ago. Maybe I think it might have been the same sort of thing actually. And so Daniel Morad won't get a chance to shine as he always does on his home racetrack. That's a real shame for him. Thanks, Adam Saul.
So the Tooth car is in the pit lane, getting a new set of Michelin rubber, a full tank of fuel and a change of driver as well. So that car will now go to the end of the race. Out of contention, but important for them to get some laps, I would have thought. As the blue number 22 will leave the pit lane. It was Justin who went one lap too far. A little bit of splitter damage on the right front of that car where Justin pulled off the track, I think, on the back straight. It's Travis Hill who takes the car out, and there was a bit of fuel spillage as well on the front of that car. But that car was being wiped down by the blue roll out. Looks like we could be going green this time around. So it'll be Trent Hinman who controls the field. The split has been done. 44 minutes to go. The red, white and black RS1 Porsche comes through to the final corner, puts the hammer down and tries to pull away from the similar car behind. That's a lapped car, I think, there. Yes, it is. That is a lapped Porsche in there. So the next car that's battling for position is the Aston Martin Vantage, the number 19 Van der Steur Racing Machine. Then Matt Plum for Team TGM, can't miss that one with the bright orange, silver and white. Then Carbon's dark grey and green BMW from Robbie Foley in the Turner car. They are all battling for position. TCR's already gone past Hugh Plum at the back of the field. Andrew Davis is the next car. So Robert Wiggins has got a demon restart and he needed it. Now, he actually hasn't quite got past Hugh Plum yet, but he's right on the tailgate of that Aston as they go through Moss Corner this time around. And the TCRs is Hyundai, Audi, Honda, Audi, Alfa in your top five, and they are absolutely nose and tail. The front of the field, Trent Hinman has got about a second on Scott Andrews because he's got a car between him. Jaden Conwright, who was leading before the Hattori Motorsports team made the decision to splash. So there should be no fuel save required for that car and for the Mia McLaren in 9th place. So it's going to be up to Jaden and to Jesse in 10th and 9th to try and pick their way through traffic. Jesse Lazar looking down the inside at turn 2 in that McLaren as he tries to go past Michael Cooper in the Baby Bull Racing Porsche. Very distinctive coloured car, that as well, the light blue on it. Now climbing the hill, yellow at the front of that Baby Bull car. At the moment, no positions having changed at the front of the field, but side by side for the lead of the TCR race. Coming out of Quebec corner. Wiggins with the outside line, he couldn't hold on to it. And it's Audi back ahead of Hyundai, then Honda. Top 3 in TCR. Mikey Taylor then with the Unitronic JDC Miller car back to the lead of the race. And Dean Baker, by the way, it is in 4th position in the 52 Baker Racing car. They are having a cracking run. Same problem for the leader of TCR though, Jeremy. Now up to a set of battling GS cars.
Yeah, but they're quick drivers at the well as those GS cars. They'll be fairly closely matched, but I think they should be able to just about stay ahead of the TCRs. I don't think they're going to be holding up Mikey Taylor too much, but certainly, as you said earlier on, the TCRs are massively quick through turn one. As we can see there, he closes right up onto the rear, onto the tail of the TGM Aston Martin getting into turn two. But I think now maybe the Aston can stretch its legs a little bit, at least it could, if that wasn't for Andrew Davis directly in front of him.
And head down the inside, Robert Wiggins takes the opportunity of the traffic. Brilliant opportunistic manoeuvre, got to the quarter panel. Maybe alongside the front door of Mikey Taylor, but couldn't make that one stick. There'll be another opportunity here as they head up the hill to Moss Corner. Mikey Taylor has the twin problems now of trying to plan his way past a faster in a straight line GS Aston Martin with Hugh Plum at the wheel and keeping back a very highly motivated Robert Wiggins. And behind Robert Wiggins, by the way, Carl Whitmer, that's another Canadian connection. And Dean Baker. Then there's a little gap back to Didier Dupont in the Brian Herter Autosport number 76 Hyundai. I say a little gap, I'm talking half a second. Quality stuff in the TCR battle. Right, here's the opportunity for Mikey Taylor, gets a really good run out the final corner. Now can he get up the inside of the Aston? Denis Dupont's just put the fastest TCR lap of the race in his efforts to close on the leading quartet in TCR, which he's done. And he's dragging Bryson Morris with him as well in the number 77 Elantra.
Yeah, who's just turned his fastest lap of the race, also mere fractions slower than Denis Dupont. Those two teammates, of course, the cars are not identical, and they are run by the same team, Brian Herter Autosport.
The front of the field, Jesse Webb's just put the JMF Motorsport Mercedes fastest lap of the race in, and he needed to, because as he's trying to chase down Robbie Foley, Robert McGuinness is right on his tail. So BMW, Mercedes, BMW for a little battle pack there, adding the Baby Bull Racing Michael Cooper car, then Motorsports in Actions McLaren, then Atori Motorsports Toyota. We've got a line of cars basically from Robbie Foley down in 5th position. In fact, he's only 7/10 behind Jeff Westphal.
It's from
also battling at the moment.
Yeah, from third
It's
place all the way back to 15th, John, pretty much next to tail, aren't they? Fantastic racing there.
Robin Liddell making up a position there, I think, in the dark green Rebel Rock Motorsports car. I just saw him go past the Porsche of Jared Thomas. I'll confirm that the next time I see them. It's getting a bit hectic at the front of the TCR field with the 3rd place Honda of Carl Whitmer throwing the left-hand side wheels of the Montreal Motorsport Group Civic FL5, the number 93 car, onto the dirt. That's the white, red and black car. Sitting in behind the Hyundai Works coloured Elantra, which is in behind the yellow, mostly yellow, with white and black Audi. We've lost Tim Lewis and the Alpha. They have been into the pit lane, as has Spencer Pumpelly for BGB Motorsports. I'm hearing from the pit lane it was some electrical issues for the Alpha. Various cables and wires being wiggled and then replaced on that number 5 car, and it has dropped a couple of laps to the TCR leader. So Jeremy, 37 minutes to go, and I'll remind you, Jeremy and Shay, we are looking for a Michelin moment of the race for each class. Perhaps it hasn't happened yet, you might have something in mind, but just bear that in mind, please, as it's starting to come back together at the front of the field. Jeff Westphal right with Matt Plum, who's about a second and a half away from Andrew Scott in second, who's 2 seconds away from Trent Hinman for RS1. Don't see much evidence, Jeremy Shaw, of fuel saving from Trent Hinman. He might have been given the go. He might have been let off the leash here.
I think, John, I mean, he came into the pits with about 55.5 minutes that gone in the race. So he was sort of 3.5 minutes short, a couple of laps. But with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 laps of caution, it'll certainly be close. I think in a similar vein are the other cars around him too. So, I don't think he's got much of a deficit or an advantage, and certainly he knows how to run to a fuel number to Trent Hinman, former series champion. Of course, he was the youngest series champion in series history. Mind you, that was 10 years ago, but he certainly hasn't. He's only got better since then.
23.7 last time around for the leader, 24.2 for Scott Andrews, who's rather more in defence mode in the Van der Steur Racing, the blue and white VDSR machine.
Yes, McCumbee behind
for a moment. Yeah, McCumbee trying to unlap himself in the grey Mustang with the blue stripes on across the top of that car. Chad in 17th position is the first car off the lead lap. Those of you watching the cars who made 2 stops, Jaden Conwright in 9th for Hattori Motorsports in the number 50, Jesse Lazare in 10th in the McLaren number 69. They have not made any forward moves at the moment. Well, that is a change of position, actually. Jaden's got ahead of Jesse Lazare, because remember, they swapped at the end of the pit lane. So Jaden Conwright has indeed moved forwards. Thank you, Aaron. Even as I was saying that, appeared on my screen. Thank you. Aaron Thielitz is right there as well, and he's got the fastest lap of the race in the Archangel Aston Martin, the number 88 car. He's 4/10 ahead of Riley Dickinson and the Kelly Moss Porsche, who's 7.5 tenths, so 3/4 of a second ahead of Robin Liddell, who took nearly a second out of Riley Dickinson last time around in the green Rebel Rock Racing Aston Martin Vantage. This is the scene of their maiden victory, of course, for Rebel Rock in the days of the Camaro. Hearing there might be a problem for Bryson Morris and the Brian Herter Autosport Hyundai, running in 6th position at the moment. It's the number 77 car. And the mechanics just asked to go to the wall to have a look at the cars it went by. Heck of a battle going on from, 3rd, 4th position all the way down. But I know people like to cock a snook a little bit at BOP, but my goodness, those who've worked out all of the calculations, Jeremy, and IMSA Technical have done a cracking job. It is not easy to overtake here, and these very different cars that have come from different shapes, different sizes, engine in different place, different philosophies in some respects, and yet they are all racing very, very tightly indeed.
Yeah, they are, aren't they? It's fantastic, tremendous racing in this championship. As you suggested there, the cars make their speed in different ways, and certainly for some of the cars it's harder to race in the configuration they've been given here. But in terms of lap time, very, very closely matched indeed. And if you've got the track position, that's half of the key here. It's very important, because it is difficult, because the cars are so closely matched. It is very difficult to make a pass, even though some cars might be faster or slower, depending on which one they are on the straightaway.
Our Swiss correspondent, RTL, have any of the GS runners taken tyres under the safety car? Those that splashed definitely didn't. Those that came in just before the safety car, that was their standard stop, so yes, they did. So all the cars, the top 8 cars, they've done one full stop. I think most of the cars in contention behind them have done one full stop and a fuel-only stop. What I didn't see, and Shay can correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody took maybe a 2-tyre stop, a working side, which would be left-hand side tyres here, stop that did that splash from the guys the teams that stopped after on or about 40 minutes. That would be the question, and I can't quite answer that at the moment. Potentially there was time for them to do that because they would have had a little more fuel to fill. And remembering back to 2019 when Rebel Rock Camaro won, they did take 2 tyres that helped them be competitive in the closing stages. Robbie Foley picking up the pace in the number 96 BMW.
Actually, last couple of laps, he actually lost a little bit of ground to the similar BMW ahead of him, the car-bound car of Jeff Westphal, who'd been a couple of tenths quicker on each of the last couple of laps. So you said that was the best lap of the race for Robbie Foley, but even on that lap, he lost a couple of tenths to Jeff Westphal. So the BMW is running strongly there in 4th and 5th, the 2 Astons ahead of them by not very much. And then Trent Hinman's got that lead of now, he's stretched out to 2.5 seconds over Scott Andrews in 2nd position with just under half an hour remaining.
Jeremy Shaw with me, John Hindhoff, in the Ford Performance Global Broadcast Centre. Our BDO pit reports coming to you from Shea Adam in the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge for the Canadian Time Motorsport 120. And looking for our Michelin moment of the race for each class. Still to come this Super Saturday in sound and vision wherever you are in the world. Absolutely free and uninterrupted, non-subscription required coverage of the WeatherTech qualifying sessions, and then the Mazda race will close it out today. Robin Liddell now right up with Jesse Lazare.
Yeah, and he's the guy I'm looking at here, is Lazare rather than Liddell, because Lazare has lost another position last time around. That was to Aaron Teliet's number 88 Aston Martin. That green and black car has moved ahead of Jesse and pulled away a little bit, so he's now back into the clutches of Robin Liddell, and also Luca Mars right in there as well, who's already won a race today in GSX.
We've got a very interesting situation on our hands because prior to that yellow flag, it looked like everyone was going to have to splash in the GS class to make it to the checkered flag. Well, I've just checked in with our top 4 cars, and it's going to be close for RS1, but they think they're good to make it to the checkered flag. For the 2nd place car, Rory Vanderster said they were close before the yellow. They're good to go now. Paul Holton said they are good in the TGM Aston Martin, the number 46. And Carvon, I know there are a lot of fans all around the world who cheer for that team, the green number 39 BMW. They said, finally, we're not even close. We're good. We're to the good, not even close. So that will bring a sigh of relief to a lot of their friends and family around the world listening in.
Yeah, I think that's the decision to stop for fuel may cost 1 or 2 people who were at the sharp end of the field who'd gone long. But you just never know when that yellow is going to come in. A problem for the TCR leader. The car is slowing. Oh my goodness me, Mickey Taylor has lost 1st and 2nd. I think he's lost 3rd as well. I think I saw Carl Whitmer go through. Also Baker's gone through. Now this car is only halfway around the track. This is the championship leader, I think, as well, from memory, Jeremy. The Unitronics Audi.
Leader. Yeah. Clear championship leader. I mean, four wins out of 5, and the other finish was a 3rd. So it's been a fantastic start to the year for this JDC Motorsports Unitronic Audi. But yeah, it looks like some sort of mechanical problem. Doesn't look like a tyre problem. Some sort of a mechanical problem there. And it looks like Mikey Taylor is going to have to pull that car off the road, which he does.
Do you know what? That is super respectful of everybody else. He's got it right next to a spot that he can be pushed or pulled back at the exit of Moss Corner. The orange on the end of a tyre barrier or a metal barrier means there's an overlap there that the car can be parked behind, or there's a gap that the car. That is brilliant stuff, and you'd expect that from Mikey. Need to pay attention in the driver briefing. It's always on the map as well and on the track walk. Now at the moment we've stayed green, but this is disastrous. He could have tried to limp that car home into the pits and then get it back out for points, but he has chosen not to do that. I really respect that, Jeremy. I really do, for Mikey Taylor.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he is a heads-up driver, isn't he, Mikey? I mean, he's worked hard to make his opportunities over the years. Came here from South Africa, which is his original home, and set up his own business. They do all sorts of easy up type tents and signage for race teams or regular business as well. And he's a real hard worker, is Mikey. So a heartbreak for him, but they've got a pretty substantial championship lead, which they will maintain in any case, I think, after this weekend. So one little hiccup, and then they will hope to get right back on the train again.
Shea Adam has been speaking to the team and has this BDO pit report on the championship leading TCR number 17 JDC Unitronics Audi.
Mikey just has no drive. The crew hasn't been able to figure out why yet. There's nothing showing up on the computers that looks suspicious. John Church sitting on the end of the box, looking over everything, talking to Mikey. But yeah, this is day done and heartbreak for the team, because not only did they win this race last year, they won it the previous time before that would come, or skipped a time, and this is the home race for Unitronics, so it's a big one for them.
I'm afraid, yeah, Mikey's out of the car. He's walking away with nary a backward glance to the number 17. I think it's safe enough there. I don't think we need anything other than what we've got. That is a parking area for safety vehicles. Maybe could be pushed back to alongside the Cayenne intervention vehicle, but the safety workers seem pretty relaxed with it being there. How annoying. That is such a shame for that car and team.
Running out front as well at the time, and but still, it's still game on in TCR. We've got to what, 6 cars pretty much nose to tail. Robbie Wickens now leads in car number 33 from Carl Whitmer in second position. So Canadians, well, first 3 positions are all Canadians. Robbie Wickens, Carl Whitmer, Dean Baker, local driver, of course, literally just down the road here. And then Denny Dupont. He's not Canadian, but he lives in Montreal. He's originally from Belgium, but makes his home now in Montreal. So he's at least honorary Canadian. And then the top but non-honorary Canadian or proper Canadian is Bryson Morris in 5th position. He's right there in the thick of it as well. And Mark Wilkins, another Canadian, only about a second or so back in car number 98.
So if you just caught the end of that, the number 17 Unitronic JDC Miller Motorsport Audi, Mikey Taylor, controlling the race. He'd been doing a cracking job, having a good battle with Robert Wickens and Carl Whitmer and Dean Baker and Denny Dupont and everybody else, in fairness, but that car had pace and has stopped out on the circuit. The team telling our BDO pit reporter Shea Adam, the car has lost drive. Mikey's out of the car, and that car coming into this weekend with a 180-point lead over the Brian Herder Autosport number 76 Hyundai. That car will not turn another wheel. So real opportunity to grab some point back here for Denis Dupont, who is only 3/10 behind a Podium Sport at the moment, and is something like a second and a half away from a win, maybe a little bit more than that. So a real opportunity here for Brian Herter Autosport. But you're not going to get any of, I mean, there's only one other Brian Herter Autosport car ahead of Denis Dupont, and they race for themselves, but you're never ever going to get Robert Wickens to pull over on a race win in Canada behind the wheel of his BHA Hyundai Elantra. Not a chance.
Don't even think about that one, particularly as you say, a home race for Robbie here. And look, he's winless last year and this. He won the championship last season, which was great, but didn't win a race, and that rankles. And this year, another really good season for them. I mean, he's had 3 podium finishes, a second and 2 thirds. Harry Gottsacker has had 3 pole positions as well in that number 33 car. So, you know, they'll be all fingers crossed there on the pit wall there, with Mark Wider having joined that team for this race as well. Going to be a bit of a good luck charm as we see the number Jaden Conrad making a move there on Michael Cooper for position.
Yeah, that was for 8th position. and Jaden Conright just easing through there. There was, down the inside, there was a great battle going on between Michael Cooper and in the Baby Bull racing car and the Turner Motorsport Robin McGuinness machine. They were battling over 7th. Just held Michael Cooper up a little bit. Jaden Conright saw his opportunity, went down the inside. There was a little touch going into the final corner. The apex of the final corner. Late dive by Conright. Is he there? He's nearly there. He's nearly enough, I'm not sure. And I dare say Michael Cooper in the Baby Bull racing car will not be happy with that. But a beautiful run through the exit of turn 9 from Jaden. He definitely had the pace down the inside. Have you got to leave a car's width on the inside of the corner? Maybe Michael could have done that and he wouldn't have lost more than 1 place. I think he's dropped 3 places now, actually. Yes, he has. He's down to 11th because Jesse Lazar and Aaron Thielitz got through as well. Robin Liddell is now the next car up. And Robin slightly pegged in behind that train of cars. Had been making good ground, but as I say, slightly pegged down. What the worry will be now for the Baby Bull racing team is whether there was any damage with that side-by-side contact on the right front of that multicoloured number 44 car. Just going through turn 2 at the moment. Liddell in the much larger frontal area of the Aston Martin Vantage. What a month of June it was for the Aston Martin Vantage at GT3. And the GT4s were doing well as well, but the GT3 winning in 5 different series or events around the world on 3 different makes of tyres for this new version of the car. And remember, Rebel Watt were the first to have the new shaped GT4 car, which raced with camouflage on it at Daytona early in the year. And so many people hadn't realised they'd seen the new Aston Martin Vantage. At the front of the field, Trent Hinman continues to lap in the low to mid 24s, Jeremy. He's just knocking them out like a metronome at the moment. 124.3 last time around. It's only 3/10. It's only 7/10 away from his best lap of the race.
That's right, and there's a 23.9 a couple of laps ago as well for the race leader, so he's certainly got everything in hand right now. He's been told he's got enough fuel, so he'll be driving to, he'll be given a number that'll show up on the dashboard, the fuel consumption number, and he'll be trying to maintain that. And you know, with his experience, he should be looking just fine at the moment. He won't be too worried about anything. He's already had 101 starts in this championship coming to this weekend, 10 wins, also coincidentally the same number as his co-driver Stephen McAleer, and he's already had 32 podium finishes to his credit as well. That's Trent Hinman, who leads the race for RS1. They've had all sorts of bad luck this season. They've been so close, it seemed on numerous occasions. Something has kind of cropped up to get in their way, but they'll be hoping their luck changes here north of the border.
Just to finish off the Jaden Conright and Michael Cooper incident, Jaden Conright has been assessed incident responsibility for that and given a warning. So he's on a yellow card, if you will, in terms of soccer parlance. And hello to all of you who are maybe just joining us from our coverage on RS1 of the WEC qualifying from Interlagos. Thanks to Peter Mackay and Johnny Palmer for that coverage. You've come to join us at the last 16.5 minutes of what has been an enthralling and thoroughly entertaining Canadian Tire Motorsport Part 120 for the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge. Couple of interventions from the safety car, but fairly brief. Just a single lap, I think, at the start of the race when we lost the Windward Racing number 57 of Bryce Ward. Also gone, Victor Gonzalez Racing number 99 Morgan Burghardt car. And the KMW Alpha is out, as is Mikey Taylor. with an unspecified drive problem. That's the Unitronic Audi RS3 championship leader, and was leading the race. Oh, and the Alpha has just come back into the pit lane, in fact, as I say that. We speak its name and it doth live again. At the front of the field, the games were played, the dice were rolled, as Lazar's down the inside there of the Aston ahead of him, of Aaron Thielitz, which can't make that work.
Right. And right ahead of them is number 95 car, Robert McGuinness, who's just been overtaken by Jaden Conrad, so up another position then in that pole winning Hattori Motorsports Toyota. He's Jaden Conrad in car number 50 up into 7th position. Next car ahead of him is Jesse Webb in the JMF Motorsports Mercedes. And can't say enough about John Farrow and that team. Canadian, proud Canadian is John Farrow. He's still the Canadian Motorsports Academy, which has given out some fantastic opportunities for young Canadian drivers, not only in this championship but also in other series as well, and also a big karting academy that they have as well, and it's kind of in the process of being set up and kind of reorganised at the moment. But John Farrow has done an awful lot for the sport in Canada, has big hopes for the future, John.
Yeah. Great to see this series being such a great proving ground. This battle from sort of 4th, 5th down over has just been brilliant, and it continues on. Jaden Conrad there, just at the front of that queue at the moment. That also has, in fact, no, he's just gone. Has he just gone ahead of the GMF car there? Yes, he has. No, he hasn't. It's Aaron Thielitz who's come through in the Aston Vantage. And behind that, Robin Liddell's progressed forward. Well, he's just got past the Baby Bull racing car, so now he's back in behind the BMW of Robert McGuinness, because Jesse Lissie there has gone past him. But take a snapshot, because any moment that I say that, it probably has changed between this battle pack of 5 cars, which is battling for 7th down over. Now, got to ask you for your Michelin moment of the race, lady and gentlemen, one for each class. And is it going to be a great and brave overtake? Is it a bit of strategic genius, a bit of pit stop work? We've seen all of those, we really have. As Robin Liddell clears the Turner Motorsport car. TCR, who are you going to pick in TCR?
I think if Robbie Wickens can finally get a win, it's been such a long time coming for him. It was the end of the 2022 season. Got a championship in the interim, as I said already, but it would be a huge moment for Robbie Wickens to get back into victory lane, John. So he's going to be my pick at the moment. We've got still 12 minutes to go. A lot can change.
RS1 staying out in GS. Van der Ster doing the same thing. That could all go horribly wrong.
I'll tell you what, John, you talked about moment of the race. I mean, it wasn't a good moment necessarily, but Tooth Autosport, hats off to them for their performance today. They've repaired that car after an incident inside the top dozen. Strategy was looking really good until it wasn't. But it's been a super debut in GS for that team. A few TCR starts in the Michelin Pilot Challenge previously, for sure, but a great first run for them in GS.
No, I like that. That's very good. It doesn't have to necessarily be a winner. They got lemons. was a long moment, but that first stint, yeah, I like that, Jeremy. Yeah, I like that a lot. So we're moving down into the last 10 minutes. Shay Adam, who have you been looking at for your Michelin moment of the race? Remember, this could be just a single thing. It doesn't have to be something that's won a race, but a good piece of overtaking, a good piece of strategy, something that happened in the pit lane. What have you been? What's caught your eye?
It looked like it was going to be a really good day for McLaren Racing when Jensen Altman stayed out for a super long time. They were going to be able to do it on just one stop, regardless of any yellow, and then the refueling issue. So, got to take them into account, and that goes in the column of what could have been.
Right, yeah, no, that's fine. It doesn't have to, it doesn't have to have given lasting advantage. We have a strategy award in WeatherTech tomorrow, but we're looking for a single bit of something that caught our eye. A couple of good overtaking manoeuvres as well, to be honest.
See here in TCR, it's still Robbie Wickens, but by not very much, just 3 or 4 tenths of a second. Just a couple of car lengths between himself and Carl Whitmer from Montreal in the Montreal Motorsports Group Honda. So Hyundai and Honda battling away there. They pulled away just a little bit now from the third place car, which is now not Dean Baker. Instead, it's Denis Dupont, who's got himself up into third position ahead of Dean Baker, Dad, who's doing still is hanging right there in fourth position as well.
And at the front of the field, it's 3 seconds between Trent Hinman and Scott Andrews. Then a 5-second gap back to Matt Plum. He's got 1.2 seconds to Carban and Jeff Westphal. So 28, 19, 46, 39 and 96, your top 5. Jesse Webb for GMF Motorsports are the 5 seconds further back. And then the hordes that have made the 2 stops, led by Jaden Conwright. And Conwright then 7th position, 1.8 seconds, but taking about 3 or 4 tenths out of Jesse Webb. He's bringing Aaron Tielitz and Jesse Lazar and Robin Liddell with him, as these are the cars, remember, that stopped in that second full course yellow. So we've got about 5 minutes or so to solidify our nominations for Michelin.
John just noticed as they completed that 74th lap, number 34 car, Jesse Webb, he fell to the back of that train of cars. So Jaden Conrad now up into 6th position in that number 50 Hattori Motorsports Tour. The car started from pole position, and poor Jesse Webb went from 6th down to 10th in one fell swoop.
Yeah, the problem is they're so close there, Jeremy. If you make any kind of mistake or somebody sticks their nose down the inside, as Jaden Conwright did on Michael Cooper, in trying to fight, didn't just lose the 1 point at the one place, he lost 3. And there's a pit lane caller, Shay Adam, in the last 8 minutes.
It started off their race with a puncture, and now the 98 BHA Hyundai has a right front puncture. So it was a left front to kick things off. Now they've done the set.
Mark Wilkins will be disappointed by that, but I think, yeah, he'll hold on to that 6th position, because the Honda Montreal Motorsport Group, the number 6 car, LP Monteur, driving that, is a few laps behind at the moment, but by no means have we settled what's going on at the front of the field in TCR, where it's still just half a second. And Hugh Plum, by the way, has not been able to pull away from that battle at the front of the TCR field, whether it was Mikey Taylor who was leading, or more latterly the Hyundai of Robert Wiggins. And that car has just not been able to get any kind of separation. Andrew Davis of Ruckus Racing has pulled out 3 seconds on Hugh, but I expected to see those cars, as they burned off their VP Racing fuel, pull away. It's not happened. It just has not happened. And at the front of the field, Jeremy, as we're hearing official retirements now for the Alpha, and for Victor Gonzalez Racing Hyundai. Alpha bravely trying to get back out and get that car running again. It's back up to 3.2 seconds at the front of the field.
Yeah, just inching away. I mean, just incredible consistency here from Trent Hinman. 24.2, 24.3, 24.4. I mean, virtually all of his laps have been within that 0.2 of a second range. Really, really nice job there by Trent. And just now, just over 5 minutes remaining in this race. So another 3 laps, probably. And Scott Andrews making his first start of the season in this championship. It's been a really good return for him, and Van der Steur Racing running in a comfortable second position now, well clear of Matt Plum in the other TGM car. And Matt Plum is doing exactly what he wanted to do coming into this weekend. Another podium finish would allow them to extend their championship lead. Or his championship lead.
Yeah, he's coming under. He came under a little bit of pressure from Jeff Westphal for car barn, but the last lap he took half a second away from that. That's just good stuff. 5.5 seconds away from second, but that isn't important to Matt Plum right now. He's thinking the long game and the championship. So, Jeremy, when was RS1's last victory then as a team? I should have given you due notice of that, shouldn't I?
Yeah,
It's been a while.
I can find that.
Robert Wickens' last win was in Canada, for sure, back in 2022. So into the last 4 minutes of the race.
RS1 would have been Daytona in 22. It was 23, was it? It was
Wow.
23. They won last year, didn't they?
Daytona 22, we think then, for RS1. The last trip to the victory lane. Aaron Thielitz has the fastest lap for Archangel Motorsport, 1:23.1, and at the moment sits in 7th position with Jesse Lazar and Robin Liddell right up his tailpipes. At the moment, it's Denis Dupont in 3rd place now, and this is good championship points for Brian Herter Autosport's number 76 crew. They were 180 points behind the Unitronic JDC Audi coming into this weekend, but that car will not finish any better than 8th. In fact, it will finish in 8th position. I don't think there's any other TCRs that are running behind it, no. Both the KMW Alpha and the VGRT Hyundai have retired. So last couple of laps now, with 2.5 minutes on the clock for Trent Hinman. That's the length of the yellow flag playing into their hands, just the one stop. They rolled the dice and went long. A couple of other cars had track position on them, including Hattori Motorsport and Motorsport in Action. They may be ruining now, coming in for that splash of fuel. Two minutes to go.
Yeah, and it was Daytona in 22 for
Yeah.
RS1, the last win, and as Shay said, right here on Canadian Time Motorsport Park for Robin Wickens 2 years ago.
Well, it will be white flag next time around. Yeah, it's not there this time. So let's sort out our Michelin moment of the race, one for each class. I do like Shay's 13 McLaren Michelin car, and Jensen Huntsman in that first stint didn't ultimately work out for them. TCR yet to be resolved, perhaps we might see one bonkers overtake before the end. I mean, the moment of the race actually is in TCR. It's not a good one. It's the 7-8 car not finishing the end of it. So Robert Wiggins getting back in victory lane. That's the moment of the race that Jeremy and Shea favour. Big shout out from me for the fabulous Baker boys in 4th position. White flag. Trent Hinman shows no sign of easing the pace. Another 24.6 last time around. 24.5 by Scott Andrews. 24.9 by Matt Plum. He's done enough. That's been brilliant work by what is now effectively the top 5. Remember, it was the top 8 who didn't stop. JMF Motorsport cars being shuffled back a little bit. So has Robert McGuinness and Michael Cooper. Trent Hinman can stroke it home from here, but in TCR there's still a battle on. Robert Wiggins sees the white flag now as he crosses the line. And at the line, over Carl Whitmer. He has just on a second. That should be enough. He's just close enough, I think, to Hugh Plum to get a little bit of an aerodynamic advantage. Jaden Conwright up to 6th position, fighting his way through for Hattori Motorsports. They went the wrong way, unless they knew they couldn't make it. It's been a perfect strategic run, as well as the pace and the performance for RS1, who are back to victory circle for the first time since Daytona 2022. The winning margin is 2.5 seconds over Van der Steur Racing and Matt Plum. Does his championship hopes no harm at all by coming home on the podium. And let's go down to the winning team in RS GT4.
We're gonna have to change their name to Risky Strategy 1, but it worked out today. Stephen McLaren, once again, a race winner. CTMP, this is a place you haven't won a Michelin Pilot Challenge, at least in the GT4 era. How good does it feel to have that one checked off the list?
No, you know, it feels amazing. You know, Trent has been flying all weekend, and you know, it goes to show at the end there, we had a lot of pace. What a great result. We've needed this. You know, you've spoken to me a bunch. We've been disappointed. You know, typically every race coming up, and you know, in practice we thought we had a shot. We're always worried about the, you know, when the cautions fall, but you know, fell in our favour today, and we had a fast car, and you know, we've managed to execute. So big points. I know there's a couple of cars ahead of us in the championship that finished a few cars behind us, but it doesn't matter. It's about the momentum today. Who made that call not to pit? Was it Charlie? You know, the goal was just to run out as long as we could, and when I get out of the car, I think there was an hour and 1 minute or so left. I wasn't sure about the call, but the caution lasted a little longer than I think we all expected. And, you know, based on how long I ran, I thought we could make it. We're so excited. Like, we've needed this. It's been a long time coming.
Congrats, Stephen.
Thanks, Shay.
I think, as well, unless either of you two are going to argue with me, I think unusually here, we're going to have to give the Michelin moment of the race for that call to RS1, because that did win them the race, and it wasn't obvious at the time, Jeremy, that the yellow would last as long as it would, so it was a bit of a gamble. Unless you've got something, either you or Shay have got something, I think that's where our Michelin moment of the race is going for GS. And
yeah, you deserve it, John.
Yeah, and in TCR, a win finally for the number 33 car at Brian Herder Autosport Hyundai. Robert Wiggins behind the wheel. Harry Gottsacker kicked it off with an absolutely cracking stint that was a battle from start to finish, Adam.
And Harry said it, it's been a long time coming, but man, it feels good to get back to the top step. How much sweeter do you think this is, especially for your co-driver, considering what country we're in?
Oh, he's thrilled, you know. He brought the luck today. Just so glad our Hyundai Elantra TCR was this fast all weekend. You know, it was a nail biter till the end. Some great racing out there. Just super happy, you know. It's been a long time coming, lots of relief, and just stoked that we finally pulled it off.
Champions and race winners now again. It's good to get that done.
For sure, yeah, it's a good feeling.
Congrats, Eric.
Thank you.
Two teams then who haven't been in victory lane for a couple of years and both taken the Michelin moment of the race for GS and TCR. Magnificent supporting class by the top of the GS field, with the top 5 all making the same gamble as RS1, and in TCR, fabulous racing from, again, the whole of the top 5. Our commiserations have to go to the number 17 Unitronic JDC car and team, who didn't make it to the end. I've got to say, Mikey Taylor, I very nearly nominated him as my Michelin moment of the race for not trying to get the car back and being very, very respectful of the other drivers around him with that car that he knew had no drive. That was a classy move, an all pro move from Mikey Taylor. Jeremy, some quick arithmetic, and you can tell us what's going on in the championship before we wave goodbye.
Yeah, Matt Plum with another podium finish, 3rd position today. They'll have 1,800 points, so he will continue to have a healthy lead. 300 points now. It was 240. The lead is now 300 over his teammate. Actually, his co-driver Paul Holton has moved up into 2nd position, despite the fact he didn't do the first race of the season. 3rd position in the points now, jumping up from 8th with the win today. That'll be RS1 Stephen McAleer and Trent Hinman on 1,450. So they move all the way up to 3rd position. So great run for them. In TCR, even with the disappointment today, Chris Miller and Mikey Taylor, they will still lead on 1,930 points, but what was a lead of 320 is now down to 250 over Preston Brown and Denny Dupont. They finished 3rd again today, and right behind them, only 40 points back, is today's race winners Harry Gottsacker and Robbie Wickens, looking to defend their championship from last year.
And quite clearly, Trent Hinman is absolutely loving that. Thank you to Shea Adam, our BDO pit reporter. There will be some celebrating by both of those teams. The RS1 Porsche Naples supported machine for the first time in a little over 2 years in victory lane, and exactly the same for Brian Herter Autosports number 33. They've taken a championship on the way, but without taking a victory in that championship year, remarkably so. Rob Wickens, who is being congratulated by his teammate, absolutely fantastic. On home ground, he has brought the car into victory lane. Jeremy Shaw was alongside me, John Hindhaugh, in the Ford Performance Global Broadcast Centre. Don't go too far away. We've got the rest of the season here for Michelin Pilot Challenge coming up throughout the year on RS2 IMSA Radio, and of course in sound and vision on IMSA TV. But today our Super Saturday continues with the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship qualifying session. That's in sound and vision, free and uninterrupted, with no subscription required on IMSA TV and on the video player at imsaradio.com. For the moment, from here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and 2 very deserving and happy winners from John Hindhaugh, it's bye for now.